Hey guys, Mini Bike Games here with a surprise video because actually this morning we got another MCM video where we got one previously with Stay Up Latte. Now we have Murray's Magic Coat Rack from Steel Wool. They just posted it like an hour ago as of recording this. So I'm not in my usual recording setup. It's a little different. So if you hear a little bit of background sounds, that's why. But yeah, we're going to watch through this once. I've already watched it, but I'll let it play once, and then I'm going to try to analyze it as best as I can. So yeah, let's start.
Are your clothes creating a catastrophic pile? Is your family distraught by the untidy nature of your house? The solution is here, friends. Murray's Magic Coat Rack adjusts for any size of clothing. Jackets, hats, cardigans, blazers, bags, shawls, scarves, and more. It'll even hold your pots and pans, or your pets, or you, if you're feeling down. Order several...
Alright, so that is the entire short teaser. I forgot to put on subtitles, so we'll do that for the analysis. But the first thing I want to mention, the very start, this intro's the exact same, I believe. We got the splice here. Oh boy. The universal leader, we got everything with that. Nothing's different, I don't think, between the two. I'm not going to check right now. So yeah, then we got the countdown. We play through it. Of course, I guess the first thing I should start with, the main guy himself, the magic costume rack, right? Yes. Murray's magic costume rack. Now, interesting to note, this thing isn't the mimic technology. Yeah, because it just adjusts, right? Which is related to the mimic in the sense that, as it says in the Secret of the Mimic teaser, or trailer, rather, that he can adapt to any costume, become any character. So this is kind of like rudimentary technology for that, right? And then another thing that I really quickly want to note about this guy is the pots and pans, of course, relates to Trash in the Gang. Specifically more with Pan, Stan, and Bucket Bob, where it's got that same basic kind of structure. It's definitely more rudimentary, I think, than these ones, but at least the ideas seem to have originated from Murray's. And then we already know about the vacuum that was seen on 5 laps that Murray made. And then in the demo, which I went to, there was a #1 gift, which is very similar to #1 crate. So yeah, there we go with that. That's the main thing with this guy. Definitely related to the Mimic, just like with Stay Up Latte, where it was using the code of the Mimic. It seems like, right? Oh man, I don't have subtitles for this either. See, creating the perfect coffee. I know what you want better than you do. Watching and learning. Yep. So these are the building blocks of the Mimic that Murray made, right? This actually, I noticed the swirling effect is very similar to the swirling eyes from the trailer of the Mimic. Very interesting, very hypnotic. And then the thing burns away. But the main thing I noticed when I watched this trailer for the first time was this. It says, a Murray invention from Murray Co. Now, that's different from Murray's Costume Manor, as we see down here, MCM. Murray Co. was seen in 5 laps and seems to be the original company that Edwin had all the way back in the 70s before the Mimic short story, if you believe in Tales games. So, interesting. It's not... like, the main thing that I wanted to note, right, was that this doesn't seem to use any sort of AI or coding. It's just a cool coat rack. This uses the Mimic coding and seems to be later in the timeline. Another thing that kind of adds to this is the different animation style, and this seems a bit clearer. Well, not that, but it seems a bit clearer than this in terms of like the quality of it. See how this is all like not glitchy, but just tougher to see, I guess, right? So that's the main thing with that. Something else that people noticed, and I clicked away from it even though I had it set up beforehand. These two people line up like 1-to-1, the same clothing pretty much and everything. There's even a child here. I'm guessing as of right now this might be Edwin, his wife. I forget her name. Like, oh gosh, I have the book right here. Look at this. That's right, because I was checking stuff earlier. I want to say Fiona, but I might be wrong, so I gotta check. Let's get this. Let's get this. Yes, Fiona. Edwin, Fiona, David. The only issue with this is I don't know. She died in childbirth, so then why, at least in the books, so why would Edwin be doing this? Maybe this will relate to someone we learn about in the game. Maybe it could be like William or Henry or something. I'm not very convinced of that, honestly. So there's another thing to note. In the background, I actually have Audacity open because I was trying to mess around with the audio. In the background of some parts, there's some audio. I don't know if you could hear it there. I can try to mess around with it in the recording, but it's very much so. I was in John FNAF's stream right before this. It sounds like it's got my leg or something like that. So it's definitely my leg something, right? And there's a couple other times that people haven't really figured out. I think there was one like right about here. Yeah, there's an audio in the background of this whole thing, right? And it sounds like something's going wrong with the mimic. It sounds like it might be the tapes that we'll hear in game of like the previous people going into the factory, which is something I've definitely thought about, or at least some tapes of people working at the factory when in Secret of the Mimic and all the technology goes awry. Now, when I first saw this, I want to say I was kind of freaked out for Tales games a little bit because my next video is all on Tales games. This being called Mariko definitely caused me a bit of worry for a second, right? I was thinking it over as I was waking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, what does this mean, right? Because in the book, which is why I have the book out, it only mentions a robotic vacuum, right, as something that he makes beforehand. And then it says that went downhill and sales dried up. And then that was it. However, after rereading it, yeah, it says there's a typo? Okay, I'm going to put this up on screen if I can find it on my digital copy. Dude, how have I never noticed this, bro? Oh my gosh. Got his first patent on a robotic vacuum cleaner when he was still a college student. Dude, that's crazy. Typo? Mistake in the Tales from the Pizzaplex? That's actually a main thing in my video. So, yeah, we'll get into that. Maybe I'll add that to the video. But that's a really funny typo. Well, anyway, I'll correct that for you guys. He got his first patent on a robotic vacuum cleaner when he was still a college student. And then he says how it sold well, allowing him to start his business. The vacuum funded a good life. It was popular at first, and they didn't have the longevity. Notice, though, how it says it allowed him to start his business, right? Which would be Mariko in this instance, okay? Mariko. So that means it allowed him to start his business. It just means that it means that the book omitted details, right? And I'm going to stop past me right there for a second just to say that after some more consideration and a few more hours of thinking about this and editing this short little video together a little bit, I think it is very possible that Murray's Costume Manor might just be a location of Mariko, because, or at least like a subsection of the company, right? Because in the video itself, the description, it's from an MCM archive still, and the beginning also still says MCM Universal Leader, right? So this has to come from a time after MCM has been formed, or Murray Costume Manor, right? So this can't be before the Mimic story in Tales games. So what I'm thinking is that this is after the fact, and he's using the Mimic features to make these different household objects that he's actually passionate about with his parent company, while Murray's Costume Manor might just be to fulfill the agreement with Fazbear, or the contract that they have. So anyway, I just wanted to have that quick aside real quick while I'm editing, so that you guys know what my true thoughts are now after a little bit more delegation with myself. And I'm gonna cut you guys off right back to past me. I think the final one, which I saw somebody else say this, but I 100% agree after seeing the time difference here, I definitely think the final one, whether that's the next one or the one after, is going to be the vacuum cleaner. Now, if that uses the Mimic coating, which it definitely could, like this, it's just a clothing rack, right? It's the magic coat rack, right? But if the robotic vacuum cleaner which is very ahead of its time, right? It's like a Roomba, basically, I think. It's never been fully explained. It's just a really good robotic vacuum cleaner, okay? But a very interesting trailer. The last thing, right, is that it's burning up. There's a reoccurring thing of fire burning reel films, or like just burning tape in general for this game. So I think this game is 100% ending with a fire that burns down a lot of the facility. And then the reason that this is on fire, is this on fire at all? I don't think it is. No. So you see some of it was saved, right? When I play this, it just plays to completion. However, some of the older stuff, maybe we start the fire in an older part of the factory, which would make sense, right? I think a game like natural story progression would be, we start seeing all this new stuff, and then near the end of the game, we go back to where the short story was, right? Where we see more of the lore-heavy areas with David's room and the tiger bed. We see their living areas. So then the older places of the facility where tapes like this would be were burned up quicker. That's why this one's 47 seconds. This one's a whole minute 30, right? This one, we don't get to see the full tape of, and it's older, so it burns up first, right? So, and then once again, this fire thing reappeared in the teaser trailer. So I definitely think at some point we're going to be burning down everything, including the tapes, which have been recovered, but you can't recover from fire. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think the last thing actually I just thought of is that in the Mimic short story and the epilogues, there are piles of mascot suits, and then the Mimic, like, stands up from one or whatever, or takes one. So I think that's just kind of interesting, Not much to say there. The background, people might be able to dissect it more. I know there's something at the end when it goes away. I hear Murray's in there, and it's probably just like the end of the tape saying like, here's another Murray invention from Murray Co., something like that, right? I don't think that's very important. So yeah, I think that's mostly it. Very exciting. This hasn't changed my video, thankfully, too much as I thought it did at first sight. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next Friday when there will probably be another one of these. I'll try to record that too, although that'll probably be a bit later because I'll be more busy then. But yeah, anyway, I guess that's going to be it for today. Expect the next video early next week. I'm thinking Monday, Tuesday-ish, if editing goes according to plan. And with all that said, this is going to be Mini Bike Games heading out. See you guys next time.